What's going on is the Wolf, and we back with another episode of The Couch. And I'm extremely excited today because I found myself joined by three amazing women. And they came down to the couch to talk about their individual growth and development. So stay tuned and don't go nowhere because right now we got Wolf Books coming up next.
For this week Wolf Book, I chose one of my favorite books. Now it might not be appealing to the natural eye for some people, but it's going to be appealing to the subconscious mind. And no pun intended, but it's actually called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And the reason I say this is one of my favorite books because we always hear about things like manifestation and, different things like even like simple things like unlearning and relearning, right? But understanding the work and wonders of your subconscious mind and how important it is to be able to tap into it, I feel like really gives us the tools to be able to manifest or understand how to have faith or understand how to unlearn certain behaviors and relearn, because these things aren't even being done at a conscious level. Like some people are left-handed, some people are right-handed. You are not consciously these things, you're just naturally left-handed or naturally right-handed. Is something that you've been doing for so long that it became conditioning, and you can actually train yourself to be opposite-handed. If you ever had an accident where one of your hands wasn't working, you would be forced to learn with the other hand. So with that being said, it's the same thing. You gotta figure out ways to tap into the other part of your mind, which is your subconscious mind. You gotta figure out what's being on autopilot. What are these things that I've been doing my entire life that have became conditioning? And ask yourself, why do I do it? So the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, which I rate a 10 out of 10, literally outside of the religious book that I read, guides me through life because it reminds me not only how important it is to understand where these conditioners is coming from, but how can I recondition myself to be and think the way that I want to be and think, of course with the power of God. But the power of your subconscious mind is so important. I want y'all to even look into it if you've never heard this word before, because a lot of us have paradigms, and in order to change your life and your behavior, you have to shift your paradigm. It's not just going to happen. Most of the time our life, our thoughts, our behaviors are on autopilot, meaning we are literally doing what we're comfortable with. When you drive places, you go the most familiar way. You never think, just something as simple as getting up on the opposite side of the bed, brushing your teeth with the opposite hand, doing different things will make you feel different because you're now tapping into different parts of your mind and utilizing different tools of your body. It's the same thing with your subconscious mind. You got to be able to dig deep and affirm. It's not just about affirming things like, oh, I'm a millionaire, I'm successful, I love myself. It's about actually impregnating your subconscious mind to really believe these things and then having faith in the things that you say. And this is how you can create a new reality, because so without, so within. So everything happens inside of us before it happens. Thoughts become things. Like simply said, every single thing that happened in the world started off as a thought. Literally, the camera I'm recording on had to be a thought first. So for things to have to start off as thoughts before they can manifest into the reality, that's why you need to understand why it's important to tap into your subconscious mind. Because if you can't even think a certain way, you would never be that way. So you gotta really believe, and I get so passionate about this particular topic because it's so many things. I'm probably missing points about the subconscious mind that somebody who's more educated can even break down. But for me understanding it, it allows me to be able to utilize these tools to become better in every area and manifest the things that I want. So go check out The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Look into your subconscious mind and reprogram yourself to be who you want to be. See yourself at the finish line now. The Wolf has spoken. What's going on? I told y'all we was going to be joined by some lovely ladies today. So first up, we got Jada Mclamb of Mclamb Accessories. She's an entrepreneur from Philadelphia, so we're gonna go ahead and bring her out. What's up, Jada?
Hello.
Hug or handshake? We should do a hug her. All right, cool. Don't worry about it. What's going on? How you feeling?
I'm great, and you?
I'm chilling. I told y'all in this discussion, I want to make sure, we loosen up. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get straight into it. I already introduced you by your name, but tell her about your age and what you got going on.
Hey everyone, my name is Jada Mclamb, owner of Mclamb Accessories and Mclamb University. I'm a 20-year-old entrepreneur from the city of Philadelphia. I sell jewelry and all types of accessories, and I also help young women, men start their jewelry businesses. And also we have Mclamb University, which is a nonprofit for the young youth, women ages 14 to 19 years old.
First, how long you been an entrepreneur for?
Since I was 16 years old.
So what made you want to go into entrepreneurship at such a, I wouldn't even say a young age, but just at that age in general?
Well, honestly, I'm gonna be honest and transparent. When I was younger, around the ages of 16, 15 years old, I was a trouble child. So I wanted to change the path that I was going down. I used to sell Alex and Annie bracelets, and I used to make a killing off of it in high school. So when I realized that that was something that I wanted to do, which was sell jewelry, I found me a wholesaler. I launched my business January 28th, but I didn't really start seeing money until Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
I sold out 3 times in one weekend, and I knew from there that it was money in the business. So I just kept scaling my business to new levels. So now my jewelry line have over 500 pieces, and we are actually opening up our storefront in the Spring Garden city.
I think that's what's up.
The Spring Garden section of the city.
I think that's what's up. Something you said you was a trouble child, right? You said that kind of was what sparked your interest in becoming an entrepreneur, because you wanted to turn over a new leaf. So, like, tell us about that. Like, when you say you was a trouble child, can you elaborate?
So I used to get in trouble. I used to fight, get locked up, just do little simple stuff, you know, not your average child. I'm not going to even say that your average teenager do, because a lot of teenagers are not trouble kids. Like, they go to school, they do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But yeah, I did a lot. I was a draw box. I used to get locked up, fight, just do stuff that, you know, I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I realized, like, that wasn't the path that I wanted to go down. Like, I didn't want to get locked up. I didn't want to be in placement until I was 18 years old. So it took me for me to have a tragic situation happen to me at the age of 16. I missed my 16th birthday because I was in jail. I had to spend my 16th birthday in Montgomery County Jail. I would never forget that.
That was not so sweet 16.
No, it was not at all. But when I came home, I ended up, like, really thinking to myself, like, is this the road that I want to go down, or do I want to change my life? Like, my parents and my if you know, like, TSS workers and stuff, like,
right,
their mentors and stuff, they used to be like, listen, we ain't got no hope in you. You ain't going to graduate. You going to be dead before you 18 years old, or whatever the case may be. And I showed them otherwise. I was like, and now I'm a 6-figure earner, you know. I'm doing good for myself. And people always be like, oh, I can't believe you changed your life. I can't believe you do this, or you this person now. And, you know, I just be like, don't count me out.
So it seemed like you came down to that defining moment. You said you was in jail, you was locked up at 16, and that's when you said, you know what, this is not what I want for myself, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, in that process, and because, like, we all make those, anybody that's reformed had to make that decision. How did you prevent yourself from going backwards and taking a step back?
You know, it's definitely, I'm gonna say it's definitely hard, you know, changing, because you're so used to your habits, your bad habits that you have. It's so hard to change. And as I was changing, like, I was in the behavior school, so I was telling my parents, like, I feel like I'm changing, like, I need to get out of this environment, because I'm trying to change, but I'm going back to the same environment. How am I going to change? So in order for me to change, I need to change my environment. So I ended up getting accepted back into public high school. And when I went to Alamy, it was still the same environment, like, kids that was thrown off, fighting, all of that, you know. And I just told myself, like, in order for me to stay on the road that I'm on, which was, I was going to school, getting good grades and all that, I had to be able to have that discipline and that consistency within myself, you know, for me to not start following the crowd on what they was doing.
Right.
Fighting and doing all that extra stuff. And I started to create my own wave. While you were still
in that same high school?
Mm-hmm.
So, because you said something I think is important. I even felt myself making that statement before when I was on probation. I felt like I had to change my environment, right? But you didn't change your environment. You stayed in that environment. But what do you think happened, like, that allowed you to stay in that same environment but not fall, you know, subjected back to, you know, the stuff you didn't want to be on?
Knew my mission that I was on. I knew that I wanted to graduate high school. I knew that I didn't want to go back to the behavior school that I'm in. I knew I wanted to prove my parents wrong, because I transferred myself out of the behavior school, and I started going to Alamy. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. But you know, 2 years ago, you couldn't cough without somebody saying, "Yo, you got COVID."
Two days ago, I'm still thinking like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm joking.
We were actually going through a spike right now. But anyways, I transferred myself out of the behavior school. One day I came home with an Alamy uniform on. We wore skirts and plaid shirts. My dad like, when did you start going to Alamy? I'm like, I told you I'm ready for change, so I'm going to show you. Right. He was upset, but I showed him better than I could tell him. Like, I graduated, I started my business, you know, I showed him like I was ready. I didn't just tell him, because it's easy for you to say I'm ready for change, and you don't do nothing you don't do nothing to show them, like, okay, she changed, she's making improvement in her behavior, or whatever the case may be. I showed them.
So let me ask you this. What has boys ever been a distraction in your process?
I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Boys wasn't like nothing I was heavy on growing up.
No, that's cool. I mean, because So even to the person that might be able to relate, do you think that helped you stay focused? Because you seem very ambitious and determined, and you seem like when you set your mind on something, you want it. So do you think that helped you have that mindset?
What?
Not like being focused or being like boy crazy.
Yeah, I definitely think so, because when I was dealing with a boy, like I would be, if we going through something, I would stay in my bed. I would be sad. I wouldn't want to get out of bed. You know, so like that right there, that's fuck on my money. Like I'm sad. I'm in my bed. I don't want to get out because of whatever I'm going through. So definitely, like if I was in high school and I had a boyfriend, and you know, young guys, they cheat. They do dumb stuff. You know, because they're young. So I don't expect you to be perfect, but if I feel like if I was dealing with guys in high school and I was boy crazy in high school, it definitely probably would have triggered me to want to fight with girls.
So all right, you know, it's funny because I feel like when you grow from that, right? You're like, all right, I want to act different. You don't never find yourself in those predicaments where you feel yourself like being angry enough to want to fight, or you feel like you completely.
I've been doing very good. I feel like if I get to that point, I need to remove myself from the situation that I'm in that's making me want to feel angry enough to want to fight, and go back to where I graduated from that stage of my life. Like I don't want to fight. I don't want to have to be angry enough to want to put my hands on you.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So if you're making me feel like that, I need to remove myself from your life or your surroundings.
So I wanted to know, it was in regard to you saying you had to prove your parents wrong, or you just like had a chip on your shoulder at a point. You was determined, right? Mm-hmm. Now I want to know, how was it showing up in front of old people as your new self? Because you know sometimes people don't want to accept who you become, so it's like they still want to see you how you used to be.
Still to this day, I deal with this.
Okay.
Still to this day, like people I run into, they be like Jackie, like that's what they used to call me. They used to call me Jackie. I'm like, my name not Jackie, I'm Jada. Like Jackie is my old. That's the old me. So that's why I always try to tell people like I'm not Jackie no more. I'm Jada. Like call me Jada. But a lot of people look at me that don't know me, like that didn't know me in years, that don't talk to me in years, that haven't, you know, been here with me during the process of me, you know, changing my life and me becoming a business owner. Because like I always say this, like in business you really be triggered, like with customers and all that, but you have to be able to be strong with, you know, with your mindset and strong with how you react to certain situations, because people will trigger you. People will trigger you to make you want to like react crazy, or even if you don't react to people, oh you pussy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I actually want to go more into depth about, you know, how you deal with your triggers. But before we get into that, we're gonna cut to a quick commercial break. So don't go nowhere. We're joined by Jada Mclamb, and we'll be back in a short second. Before we cut to a commercial, you started talking about being triggered, and I said I wanted to go a little bit more depth in that. So, what do you mean when you say like people will try to trigger you, and how do you deal with that, like as your new self when you find yourself triggered?
I feel like I walk away from the situation before I even could give it a reaction. I deal with it, by basically me just walking away from it and me taking myself out of the situation before it escalates.
Yeah. So would you say that's like transparent across the board, or like in every situation, or do you think some situations are harder than others, or easier?
I feel like communication as well. Like if you could communicate in a situation where if it's someone upset about something, without you just walking away, and you could communicate and de-escalate that, then I feel like that's another way how I handle my triggers as well. Like before a person can get upset where it's violent. Right.
So you like, I'm not even gonna let myself go there. You had said something a minute ago. You said young men need to be cheating, right? Mm-hmm. So what's your experience like with men?
Well, my experience with men, I don't have a lot of experience, but from what I have experienced, I feel like dealing with young guys is like a roller coaster, because you never know what to expect. Like today we may be good, tomorrow I may be good to somebody right saying this or that and the third. And then I'll be like, all right, like you young, like you're not perfect, but then also they don't give you the right to, you know, be disloyal.
Right.
Because I feel like young guys, they'll be loyal to their bros or whoever, you know, your friends, and they feel like, oh, they could cheat on their girl, they could lie to their girl. That's the same. What's the difference?
You think, well, I'm going to just say this. Men look at loyalty with their friends is they don't perceive it to be the same. Now, I'm not saying it's different, but I'm saying the perception of it. Like, it's not comparable because you ain't going to deal with your friends in the way you would deal with your woman. And your friends can't hurt you in the way that a woman can hurt you.
Right.
So they not looking at, like, because it's like, what could, him having sex with a woman, unless he having sex with his homie's girl, like, where would that disloyalty come in that situation?
I feel like because you have the upper hand to tell me, like, or I fucked up. Like, I
understand, yeah.
So that even if it come out, you already know you won't be, like, hit with a bluff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I do encourage men to be straight up because I feel like you don't have to lie to a woman. I always say if she likes you enough, she'll lie to herself. So I think that being transparent give y'all the opportunity to decide for yourself what y'all want to put up with or not. But speaking to the loyalty aspect, I think, like, I don't know, like, what's your definition of loyalty? Like, what that look like to you?
Being real with me, learning how to communicate, because I feel like nowadays, like, people really lack communication. Wait, what was the question?
No, it wasn't really a question. You spoke towards loyalty, and you were saying, like, no, I'm following you, and I honestly, like, you speaking from a mature perspective about it, but I asked about your definition of loyalty and what you see that to be, because you gotta know what somebody view that as coming into a situation because it's so subjective. We would love to say that I look at loyalty from a moral standpoint, your characteristics and having a good character and all that, but somebody else might have a different definition. So
right.
It's good to kind of know that. That's why I wanted to know what was yours. Because at the same time, and like, I don't know, do you think that your loyalty changes based on how you feel?
Yeah.
But as a man, we don't, it shouldn't. Like, how I feel shouldn't change my loyalty. And we don't credit, and I'm just speaking from a man's perspective when I say that a man ain't going to credit, if he ain't doing nothing that's slimy to his chick, he not going to say he being disloyal because he's doing what he want to do over here.
Right.
And that's just me breaking that down. But I was asking about your experience with men. You spoke to that. I wanted to know how. So you mentioned your father earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what was that experience like?
I feel like me and my father's relationship wasn't as strong as me growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Me growing up, as I got older, like I kind of understood like some of the reasons why he lacked in the areas where he lacked it because he didn't have a father. So he was learning just from experience from himself.
Yeah.
From him, you know, going through different relationships, and I guess his uncles or whoever taught him, but he didn't have a real father figure in his life to show him like what was right, what was wrong, how to handle a female, because it's different. It's different with raising a female and raising a son. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Now I was gonna ask, because you made a valid point, and I think that's dope. It seems like you give him a lot of grace. Would you call yourself a daddy's girl?
I wouldn't call myself nothing. To be honest, I love my dad, I love my mom, but
It's just what it is.
yeah.
But for the women out there, young women or older women who haven't reached that point of just like you said, like you started to understand why he made certain decisions, what would you say to them? Like, you know what I mean? Like for them to arrive at where you at. I feel like that'll help a lot of daddy-daughter relationships.
I would say don't hold grudges. You know, like it's so hard to move on and heal. But in order to heal, you have to be able to communicate what hurt you, communicate the feelings that you feel, and you know, not be provoked, because I could be having a conversation with my sisters and we'll be talking about something, but they'll be provoked because they didn't heal from what hurt them. So I feel like definitely heal from the things that hurt you. You know, talk about it. Talk about what's going on, how you feel. Explain to your parents or whoever, you know, you trying to heal with, or
yeah, like basically express yourself to.
Yeah. So that y'all both can understand, you know, where they went wrong at or what they can do moving forward to help you move on from the past or whatever the case may be. But I just say, you know, communicate with them so that you can heal, because that's where I'm at right now in my life. I'm learning to communicate, talk to my therapist, you know, talk to people who you feel comfortable with. Like, it took me a while to understand, like, why you needed a therapist, why it was important to have to be able to talk to somebody where you feel like you could just let it all out and not be judged.
No, that's a fact.
Was there any books, the last question I'm asking you, was there any books that contributed to your mindset?
It's called something called Manifest Now. I read this book during COVID. During COVID, I was going through like so many different emotions from with my business. I felt like my business was failing, but that really was the year where my business spiked to a whole new level, like where I hit my 6-figure year. But that book also helped me open up some wounds, you know, and try to heal them. To understand, like, okay, you know, this is probably why I feel this type of way, or this is probably why I lack this communication in this area, because I'm not healed from it. Or I don't feel comfortable about talking about it because, you know, I'm just not comfortable yet to open up about certain situations, you know.
No, that makes sense. I think definitely not even you wise. I'm not even gonna just say for your age. I think that like you wise and you ambitious, and it seems like you know what you want in life, and I think that's dope. And I hope that, you know, the people out here that's watching can take something from the things that you just shared. I want to take the time to thank you, and I want to let you know that I'm personally proud of you. I didn't know you when you was Jackie, but since I watched you grow and develop in these last few years as an entrepreneur, I've been watching your journey, and I've seen your business take a spike, you know what I mean? And certain things that you said you was going to do, you did it through your ups and downs. I watched you travel from here to Atlanta, all these different places to promote yourself. In New York, you took people on bus trips, you empowered the young girls to come with you, and you're a leader, you're a natural leader. So like, it's good that you took that energy that you was pouring into the negative and you reformed yourself, and now you're pouring it over here. So I just wanted to pour that into you. You won't go nowhere because we're going to bring you back up here for the open discussion, but I just want to say thank you for your time, and I appreciate you joining me on the couch. So definitely plug in your handle wherever I can follow you and find you at.
Hey everyone, again, it's Jada Mclamb, owner of Mclamb Accessories. You can find me on Instagram at mclamb.accessories, ACCESSORIES, because it's so spelled so many different ways. I'm learning that to this day. And then my personal Instagram is Yo Mclamb JJ, YOMCCLAM, and Mclamb is my last name. A lot of people ask, like, why? Who is Mclamb? Mclamb is me and my sister. We a gang.
We're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to find ourselves joined by another lovely lady, another special guest. So don't go nowhere. We see you after this commercial break. I hope y'all enjoyed that first conversation because there's more in store. Right now, I'm about to find myself joined by the one and only Layla Elise. She's the queen of commercial contracting with the cleaning companies. She has real estate, Airbnb, and a plethora of other entrepreneur endeavors. But I'm going to let her tell y'all more herself. So without further ado, I want to bring out Layla. Good friend of mine. Let's get it. What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, man. Honored to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for taking the time to come down. So, I just introduced you, but I feel like it's always best for you to tell people a little bit about what you got going on and, you know, your name and everything else.
Okay. How y'all doing? My name is Layla Elise. You can follow me on Instagram at LAILAHALESE. So I have a commercial cleaning business. I clean commercial buildings, businesses in my city of Philadelphia. These can be businesses like Rite Aid, the free libraries, daycares, you name it, whatever kind of business. And then I also am into real estate investing, so I actually have a 3-unit building that I just acquired, and I do Airbnb rentals.
So, I know that you had a few other business ventures before you got here.
Oh yeah.
So what made, starting with the commercial cleaning, what made that like stick? What made that the one?
Honestly, like just being older and understanding like you have to have a sense of consistency for anything to really come into fruition.
Yeah, for sure.
So one thing about me is like ever since I was like 5 years old, I was hustling. And I know that sounds probably crazy as ever.
You were trapping?
Pretty much, like I like to write. So when I was younger, like literally like 5, I'm writing like little stupid stories like the dog bit the ball, right? And I'm taking paper and I'm stapling it together, and then I'm going outside, and you know, adults, like, they think it's cute. So they're like, oh, that's so cute. So now I don't know what I was charging, but now I'm selling these little pieces of paper that they're probably going to throw out, but it's all teaching me, like, okay, I'm putting something out and I'm getting something back that I need. Like, I grew up poor, so I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. And so as I just, you know, continue to grow older, I would try different entrepreneurial endeavors. I remember when I was 7, my mom had jewelry, and she wanted to pick up a new hobby, but she never followed through with it. And there we go, I'm talking about consistency, right? And so I took her jewelry. I'm always looking for opportunities to thrive. I took her jewelry. I started making all these bracelets. Then I took them outside because like all the kids in my neighborhood kind of just like, I don't want to say followed me, but they banged with me. Yeah. So like now I got all these bracelets and I'm like, here, you go knock on these doors, you knock on these doors.
You was running the block.
Yeah. So like everybody's selling my jewelry and I'm making money and then I'm taking the money and then remember I'm still young, so I did stuff like go buy cake mix and make everybody a cake and stuff like that. But like so those qualities were developed in me young and no one taught me it. It just was like, it just took over me. Like I seen that I can put something out and I can make money or I can make changes, I can make people happy, like, you know, and so I've had a million different, to answer your question, entrepreneurial pursuits. And what I'm doing now just stick because like now I'm older, I have to be consistent.
Yeah, because I remember we worked together for a brief stint and I was telling my interns, I was like, nah, like Layla was a part of First Step Marketing when it first started. Yeah. When you was helping me, you even registered it or whatever. So it's crazy because
I did. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, you registered the business. So we register businesses now, but you was actually the person that registered ours. So I want to say thank you for even working with me in the beginning and believing in the vision when it wasn't even all the way together yet.
Honestly, now when I seen it, because you know I reached out to you.
I remember,
because we had known each other for a while, but then I seen you was shifting focus, you know? And I was like, yo, that's decent. I think I could be an asset here. Like, let's cook up something together.
Yeah, and then it went from there.
I been knew you was going to kill it.
No, I appreciate that. But getting back to it, so would you say that your life was just a case of trial and error until you figured it out?
Yeah, my life is still that.
Yeah, I don't think.
Always
I don't think you ever get out of the trial and error, but when you start to see the success of it, it makes it all make more sense.
Oh yeah, it makes you have the drive to keep going.
Yeah. So I remember for a while you was doing something beauty related. Was you like? I don't know if it was like lashes.
Yeah, so eyelashes.
You was doing lashes.
So when I was I'm so bad with dates, y'all. So please forgive me. But when I was in high school, I was getting my eyelashes done once a month, right? Like every 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm like, yo, this girl getting money. Like, as soon as I get up, I give her what, like $150. As soon as I get up, somebody else getting down. Yeah. I'm like, she making like
the
probably
a
stack a day.
Yeah,
so I'm like, okay, I have to learn how to do lashes.
Yeah.
So I took a course on it. I invested the money. I took a course. I learned how to do it, and I was doing that for like 6 years, maybe. Yeah. But just as a side hustle, that wasn't something that like I wanted to do. Like I want to be a beauty bureau or nothing like that. I was just like hustling. Yeah,
everything for you, it seemed like you looked at the number aspect of it. You was hustling, and you like, you know what, this can make money, so I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So getting into where you at now, as far as in like with the real estate, and would you say it's something that you're passionate about, or would you say it was just the money part?
I enjoy what I do now as far as like Airbnb. That's fun. Yeah. Passion for me is like writing. So I don't monetize my passions currently, but it is something that I want to, do.
But would you like writing like what? Because like writing is everything. So like writing what? Like movies, books, poems?
Yeah, movies, stories, content, articles to share like information that I know.
What,
to share
good
points? No, but I would probably love to do it. And it's like, why am I not doing it? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm so consumed with making money, but I think it's important for people to do what they love and learn how to monetize doing what they love. Yeah. I do want to, note that.
So do you think it's more important to do what you love, or do you think that it has to be attached to monetizing it?
I think you got to get money, because if not, like, how are you going to eat and how are you going to have a roof over your head? So I think that first you have to prioritize stability. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, that's a good perspective. You being a woman, would you look at, if you in relationships, what's your thing? 50-50, 100? Because it seems like you like provide in a sense. So like, no,
what gave you that impression?
Because I feel like the money comes first in a sense. So that's not a problem though. It's really just a perspective or a preference there. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so you're asking me
what would you, in those situations, do you look at it like what if somebody says, I want you to be a housewife and focus on your passions? Is that something you're willing to do?
Oh, yeah, I would like that.
All right, yeah, that's what I was asking, because I know you're like, nah, like I gotta be having some type of hustle.
The thing is, like, being an entrepreneur and hustling, it came to me at a young age, so it's in me, and it gives me a sense of like pride and purpose and fulfillment and enjoyment. Like I like to be able to be like, damn, I'm having this problem, and then overcome it and make more money overcoming it.
Right.
Like it fulfills me. You know what I'm saying? So like, in a sense, I do always want to be able to make money in some way.
Yeah.
Even if I'm a housewife and I'm helping my husband with his business,
for sure.
or I can't see like that I would never have a business.
Right.
So I'm gonna always have some money coming in. I can't see not.
You gonna work the circumstances like you did when you realized, like, oh, I can sell this jewelry, or I can sell.
I'm always gonna have something coming in, but like I do also aspire to, you know, as a married woman, and when I have kids and all of that, I aspire to be able to not have to stress about money so that I can work with my kids.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
that makes a lot of sense.
like housewife, that's ideal.
So marriage, so I was gonna ask you, what were your views on marriage? Like, is that something that you, because I feel like it's different now. Like, you would think that everybody want to be married, but I'm learning that everybody got their own perspective.
Yeah, everybody don't really care about it. So when I was, a few years ago, I was like the bitterest person ever. Like, just a bitter woman, right? And understandably so, because like, you know, you had father issues, just men around you, and then you start to feel bitter, or like you're dating and men are treating you a certain way, and you're like, sheesh, like I don't even deserve this. And so ultimately, like, you become bitter, you become angry at the men around you. And I just had to, damn, I'm so sorry, I forgot your question.
No, it's cool, because I like where you're going anyway. So how did you deal with, because you said you was bitter, speaking to the past tense, so which would have mean that you are not anymore. So what changed that, like, allowed you to... Yeah. But what changed, though? I want, for the people that might need this.
Yeah, so, like, I was just really bitter, and there was someone who was talking about me. It was another girl, and they got back to me, and she was like, Layla's, like she said like I was hurt or something. So I guess whatever I was talking about was giving people the impression that I was hurt about men.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I was like, what? Like, I'm not hurt. Like, I'm mad at her, right? And we're not friends or nothing. It's just something that got back to me. But then I had to like assess that. Like, am I projecting hurt?
Right.
You know, and so I just, you know, dive deep, realized, yeah, I'm hurt as shit. And then I just had to fix it, because of what I realized is that my hurt and projecting that hurt onto the world, it wasn't putting me in a better place. It was bringing me down more.
So I kind of want to delve deep, and I need some like action steps that you took to, you know, figure out what that looked like. But before you get into that, we're gonna cut to a quick commercial break. So don't go nowhere. We're gonna finish this conversation when we come back. So before we cut to a commercial, I told you I wanted you to delve deep into that, because I feel like those action steps are what's key. A lot of people come to those decisions, but they don't know what to do next.
That's a fact.
So for you, what did that look like?
Alright, so it's been a journey over the last couple of years, and honestly, like, it's going to continue to be a lifelong journey.
100%.
Some of the steps that I've taken so far have been really leaning into, I guess, triggers, and trying to just overcome them.
Okay.
So like, if I have toxic relationships with family members or anything like that, and sometimes you'll give the advice of like, stay away from these family.
Yeah.
But like, this certain relationships were valuable to me, so I had to learn how to work with that person. I have to develop my social skills. I have to stop being so freaking hurt. Oh, yes, it hurts. Get over it. Like, and talk to that person and overcome it. So stuff like that is like more so just like leaning into the pain of things so that you can overcome them. Another thing that I did was like not date for a while and not have sex for a while. Because like dating, men, relationships, sex, that can all cloud your vision, cloud your judgment, cloud your emotions, your logic, whatever. So I stopped doing that for almost 2 years. Like, I wasn't dating nobody, I wasn't having sex. I was just focused on myself, learning myself, being with myself, And so now, finally, I'm 26 and I just started, like I've always bought books, but I never can finish them. So now, finally, just this year, I've started actually finishing books.
Yeah.
So now I'm reading books, and I'm also watching a lot of lectures, documentaries, like on YouTube and things like that. I mean, we have Google. So like knowledge is here. And something you said that's key, like a lot of men and women know, damn, I gotta be better, but what steps do I take? Another last thing I wanna say is like talk to people. Stop carrying all of those things. Like if you feel like you're, as a woman, relationships aren't working and you just keep getting short, talk to somebody who you value or look up to, and not your homegirl who she can't keep a man either. You know what I'm saying? Like talk to maybe a man that you value, get another perspective. So I really have had to learn how to have relationships with people, like even somebody like you. Like I have to continue to be your friend and develop that relationship, that connection, and like you're somebody that I go to if I need advice. So like talk to people, get a mentor, get a coach. Go have that hard conversation with your father that hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Like get over all of this stuff by forcing yourself.
It sounds like you just telling them to be intentional. And what I was going to ask about, so one of the things you said, and I'm trying to tie it back. Would you say that the relationship you built with yourself was the key to helping you build relationships with others?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. The relationship that you build with yourself is most important because it's going to set the tone for how others respect you, how they treat you, how they even view you.
It's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, I was posting content that seemed bitter. Like other people were viewing me as bitter. But if I had a better solid sense of self and a better relationship with myself, I would have known not to
because you wouldn't
be
want to represent
speaking like
yourself
that.
like that.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So I read this quote a long time ago, and it was like, if I was going to live with myself, then I had to change myself. And that really resonated to me because sometimes, y'all, we be out here and people be phony, acting like they don't have shit they go through. We all got stuff we go through. We're all
100%.
human. Sometimes life can really trample you, like, and pull you down.
I kick your ass.
And you be like, damn, like, it's hard to live with yourself. Like, at times you might really not even like yourself. You know what I'm saying? And so, you have to make those changes.
I feel like this. So you said you went a few years kind of like focused on you, right? And I think that everybody go through that self-love journey. They make all this progress, right? How did that translate into when you started dating? Like, did that girl still show up, or
that
did
be the thing? So like, you can do all of this work on yourself, right? You can be proud of yourself. Other people can be proud of you, and then you get in one situation, and it just brings stuff that you thought was resolved right back. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like when they say growth is a dance, you know what I'm saying? Because it's always going to be something that you kind of have to overcome.
It's crazy because you speaking towards growth and how much it's like, you know, a process, because healing is not a destination, it's a journey, right? And that's actually going to be something that we actually go into in our open discussion. So I want to hold that because I don't want everybody to chime in on what their growth has looked like and ways that, you know, we can advise other people to grow just by the action stuff that work for us.
Absolutely.
But before I let you go, we cut to another commercial break. I want to know, what is something that you would have told your younger self?
Sheesh, that's a very interesting question. What would I tell my younger self?
Yeah, like even, you know, post, you know, you saying you was bitter and all these different things. Like, what do you have to say to her?
Dang, y'all gonna have to cut a lot of this.
Nah, you good. I'm gonna let this breathe.
What would I tell to my younger self? Just to face my fears even more. That's all I can really say. Like,
And I want to tell you, I'm extremely proud of you. You know what I'm saying? I remember we knew each other for 10 plus, but we grew a relationship later on in life or whatever the case may be. So I don't know how far that journey was, but when I met you, you know, you was always, on your stuff. You know, you was handling. I respected you as a businesswoman, how you handled and conducted yourself. And I've never had that perception or perspective of you or whatever. And we have those conversations, and you always ask for advice about certain things, and you seem like you want clarity. So I could tell that that's like one of the steps towards growth anyway, because not many people in general seek out, you know, that counsel where they like, yo, let me get your perspective. Am I tripping? Because you always come to me like, yo, I did this, or this was said, or how could I have played this differently? Are you a man? What you think about? So I think that shows growth in itself personally. And I can see that your business is growing, so I want to commend you for that. And I just want to give you a flower, let you know I love you dearly. You always come through for me when I need you.
Over there, I thought it was actually flowers.
No. You know, I thought about that. I said, no, I really wanted to get a lady's flower today, and I feel like a nut because I didn't have them. But
no, you good.
No, I'm going to send them to your workplace, so it's cool. But that's just that. But I don't want you to go nowhere because I want to bring you back to the open discussion. But I just want to give you a hug, let you know. Definitely love you and appreciate you for coming down and just keep doing your thing.
Thank you, Hannah.
We're going to cut to a break, and when we come back, we're going to find ourselves joined by the one and only Hannah of Umi D's. So we'll see you soon. I hope y'all enjoyed the conversation that we've had thus far. And we have coming out, last but not least, Hannah Elise. First of all, she's a restaurant consultant, a business coach, and the owner and founder of Umi D's Burger Bistro in Philadelphia. Food is wonderful. I just want y'all to go check that out. I gotta say that. But yeah, without further ado, let's bring out the one and only Hannah Elise. So, Hannah, hey. I can't even let you sit down without asking you. Is this your first interview, or like have you done these?
You know what? So it is. This is my first formal interview. I just wrapped up a podcast. I want to say about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's what's up.
You're like the first person to get me here with it.
Nah, that's dope. So, how have you been enjoying this space of talking? Because you normally be behind the scenes a little bit.
Right. It's new for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's new for me. I'm a very intimate person, so it's taken some time for me to get acclimated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How things work.
Yeah.
I just was sharing with the ladies backstage that I'm trying to figure out how to capture the essence of me on camera without freezing up, you know? And stay candid. So it's new for me.
I'm about to ask you, but even when you look at your Instagram, you seem like your personality you have a personality.
Yeah,
and people love your personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't think it show up, or are you just saying it needs spaces?
I think I get nervous. I'm still shy. It's funny because it's you would think that I'm just this, big person, but I'm still that shy little girl at times.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your success as an entrepreneur. So let's talk Umi D's. I already said, I love food. I haven't had so many of them salmon burgers, but let's talk about what inspired that, and how has that journey been?
Okay. So my journey towards entrepreneurship, specifically with Umi D's, was very tumultuous.
Yeah.
I've always been a people person. I've always been people oriented. I love people. I love making people happy. So at that tender age, I already realized okay, I have a gift.
Yeah.
I'm able to make people happy. I'm able to bring people joy, and then through different workspaces and throughout my career, I realized okay, in hospitality, all I have to do is be nice to people, and I make money. This is it's like a cakewalk, So that was my preference when it came down to workspace. I did a lot of different things. I bartended.
Okay.
I bartended all over Philly at one point because I always wanted fast money.
Okay.
I always wanted to figure out, okay, how can I make the ample amount of money in the least amount of time?
Okay.
Yeah, so I always just wanted to work smarter, not harder. So bartending worked for me for a very long time. Throughout that process, I went through a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
And I decided that, my belief system versus my career, they weren't able to mesh.
Yeah.
They couldn't coexist with one another.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I was faced with, a decision amongst myself to choose, my career or, what's good for my soul.
Yeah.
And I decided to choose that route.
Okay.
And I literally walked by faith.
Did you know much about? Cause are you a chef or a cook or?
No.
So did that come?
No.
Cause did you touch the grill?
I do.
Yeah. So tell us about like how that came about.
Okay. Just to clarify really quick, I'm not a chef. I'm just a go-getter.
Okay.
So I'm the type of person I'm gonna make it shake.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. If I gotta flip burgers in here.
Absolutely.
That make a lot of sense. So
Absolutely.
talking about your spiritual journey, what age or year was that? If you don't want to say age, what year was that? And what was it that clicked in that moment?
I want to say this was 20. I'm 27 now. I've been in business for 4 years.
Okay.
So I would say I was 21.
Oh, that's kind of like that was like early to have that. So I can't even ask how long you were bartending if you was 21 because I feel like that. So aside from that, what was that moment?
Like that spiritual awakening
Yeah,
for me.
cause like what that I call them defining moments.
Okay.
You know, so what was that defining moment? You was like, you know what, this ain't it. Like I'm it's conflicting. I need to be on something else.
Okay. So at one point I had this like mass goal to just work at Del Frisco's. Like if you're from Philly, you know just how dope Del's is. Del's is like a status symbol, right? So I decided that it's like, okay, I invested into bartending school. I did that, it worked for me. And I used to run it up. So I said, hey, I'm working these hood bars and it's good for me, but I want to try something a little more sophisticated. So I decided that I would pursue a different demographic. And my end goal at that time was Del Frisco's. I'm like, they make like $70,000 a year on bartending. I'm like, yo, like that's ideal for me.
Yeah.
And I worked so hard to get in here. I would call, it was literally like a secret society. Like you could not work in Del's if you wasn't just like top tier. So I would constantly call and apply, and they would not call me back, ever. And I remember I was in school part-time. I was in CCP.
Okay.
Because I actually dropped out. I went to college once, dropped out, and I decided to go back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me try the school thing again. I still was figuring things out.
Right.
Career-wise.
Right.
You know? So I went back to school part-time, and, you know, I was pursuing hospitality and, you know, being a mixologist. And I wound up having a family member that was connected to, like, a manager down here. And I finally got a call back. I'm talking about after years of pursuing this. And I remember I got a phone call. It was Monday. And basically we set up an interview.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, like this is really here. Like I can't believe this.
Yeah. Would you say you manifested it?
Absolutely.
Did you know what manifestation was at the time?
Hell no.
But you just had faith.
Absolutely. And I was persistent.
Yeah.
Like I'm relentless.
Yeah.
You know?
So being relentless, right? And now you owning Omidi's Burger Bistro. How is it being a woman and being like a CEO of like, you know, running? Because you gotta deal with like you gotta run this business. So how has that been?
You wanna know what? It has literally for me. It has been. I would equate it to like being a first-time parent.
Okay.
You know how they say with your first child, it's like you guys raise each other. Versus with your second child, it's like typically they get that nurturing.
Yeah.
You know, versus the first baby is like, you know, they may be raised upon survival, unfortunately. So I've literally learned myself, and I've got to meet different aspects of myself through my business, through my staff members, you know, through different challenges. So it's really deep, like how introspective, you know, business has been for me.
So running a business, right? How does that, you know, fare in your dating life, in your relationship life?
It's hard. It's hard as fuck. It's really hard. It's challenging. To this
I
day.
like that word so much better, challenging.
Yeah.
Than hard, yeah. I like challenging.
It's challenging.
All right, yeah.
And to this day, I've been in business for 4 years. Originally, when I, you know, founded my organization, I was actually married. I was in a relationship, married. I'm divorced now, single. And to this day, I have yet to really find that common ground, you know, in that sweet spot. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think the biggest aspect for me when it comes to growth and development and progression is that I now have self-awareness. So when I first went into business, I didn't realize how neglectful I could have been to my partner. I didn't realize, you know, how selfish I could have been, you know, or how consumed I could have been with my business. And it wasn't until things were over
that you reflected.
Right, that I was like, okay, you know, if and when I do this again, I can do it differently. But when I was in it, I couldn't see it.
So, how long were you married for?
So I was married for a year, and I was in a relationship prior to that with that person for about like 4 or 5 years.
Got you. So I want to delve deeper into your journey within marriage and entrepreneurship. But before we do, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and we're going to pick up this conversation when we come back. So before we cut to a commercial break, you was about to go into, you know, I actually asked you to elaborate more about, you know, that process of marriage. How young were you when you officially got married?
I got married once in 20. So I believe I was 24.
So you was married, you had 2 marriages?
No, so I was married once. So I was in a relationship for about 4 to 5 years.
Oh, gotcha.
And we got married towards the end of the relationship.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's kind of how it went.
And you also spoke about self-reflection, and I honestly, for any human that self-reflects, I think that's where the true growth lies. Like once we able to identify the areas in which we could have been better, because then we realize it's not even necessarily about the other person. They kind of got to do their own self-reflecting. So you spoke a lot about the spiritual journey. So what was some of that process like spiritually? Like, do you read books? Is it, you know what I mean? What do you do to tap into that?
I am Muslim.
Okay.
So around that time frame, my entire just life, I would take off. You know, so if I bartended, let's say for maybe about like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Each year for 1 month, you know, we had Ramadan.
Yeah.
And you know, we sacrifice you know, food, and essentially we abstain from things that, you know, aren't good for us in a sense, you know? And we want to increase in good deeds and things that will, you know, improve our character. So each year I would take off for Ramadan. Literally, I would work for 11 months, and then at 12 months, I would literally tell my jobs, hey guys, I'm not going to be able to be here because I have to fast.
Yeah.
And I need you guys to hold my job. Don't give my job away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that went. And 1 year, I literally said, I'm not going back to the clubs. Like, I cannot do it.
Yeah.
And at one point, you know, in order, of course, we know it's like sex sells. That's just life.
Right.
You know, so working in nightlife and hospitality, you gotta sell yourself, whether it's, you know, your beauty, your looks, your physique, like, you know, and I had to play on it.
Yeah.
You know, I literally had to manipulate in a sense and be seductive intentionally. You know, so it's like if I wanted to make money, it's like I had to have on the tightest attire, you know, or I had to make sure my breasts were showing or whatever it was. That way, you know, I was effective as possible. That way I could bring that bag home.
So it's crazy because now you spoke to like your methods and how you made money in the nightlife, but it seemed like success followed you into, you know, hospitality and a restaurant. So like, what's the strategy there? Because it's a whole different ballgame.
Right. So as I've gotten older and I've grown, I've just realized that, you know, ultimately you don't have to, like, it's in you, not with you. You know, so it's like I don't have to show up as anything other than myself.
Right,
like I don't have to be ass naked.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to seduce anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like my charm, my smile, my energy, that's infectious enough, truthfully.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I'm glad you even said that because so many people, they look for the outer things to give them that validation instead of just validating themselves. But even so, you spoke in the beginning about having faith, right? So I seen that you got awarded that grant from $1 million worth of games. So I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
And you told me before that you good with grant writing. So was it your skill or was this just your faith and it just fell out of your lap and fell into your lap?
Well, I'm always gonna, give back, just do, to my higher power, of course.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they say like faith doesn't work if you don't work. So, one thing about me, I'm gonna work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that work in.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I attribute a lot of it to my skill.
Okay. You said, cause like I remember you said like you help people and everything to get the grants and stuff, right?
I do.
So it's weird because when I seen it, I wasn't surprised. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, she already told me she's good at getting grants, so it was like, oh, that's dope. But she really she really good at getting,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I thought that was dope, and when I seen it, I don't know, it definitely made me smile. And I had read your caption, and I do sound like it was like right on time and different things like that. So like, I don't want to make it all business, but I just want to know, how did you survive the pandemic?
That's a great question. The pandemic was by far I've been in business for 4 years.
Yeah.
So the pandemic, keep in mind, was for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that was literally like half of my business, our duration.
Yeah.
So navigating the pandemic was definitely challenging for me.
Yeah.
From a multitude of aspects, and I'm glad that you asked me that. So with hospitality, it's a little different because I want to say 80% of my operations are literally like based upon my team.
Yeah.
So if they're not good, I'm not good.
Yeah.
We're not good. Customers aren't good.
Yeah.
It's not just a service. It's
Yeah.
literally the service is based upon the people.
Yeah.
In the pandemic, it affected, my team in a multitude of ways from mental health.
Yeah.
We dealt with a lot of deaths. People lost their loved ones.
Yeah.
When COVID was being contracted, we literally had to quarantine. So, say for instance, if 4 to 5 of my staff were in contact, with someone that contracted COVID, now my entire site, we're short staffed. So now the remaining people, they have to be overworked, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because we got bills to pay.
Yeah.
And the average American is like, they don't have any money saved up.
That's a fact.
So what we gonna do? Close for 2 weeks? They can't afford to close for 2 weeks, or to take off for 2 weeks. So it affected us in so many ways. And again, I'm just so grateful, just by the grace of God, that we was able to, get through it. We got a lot of funding.
Yeah.
That helped out a lot. Grants, the SBA came through as well.
Yeah.
And we did receive a lot of support. I will, acknowledge that, because at one point a lot of the mandates were geared towards, dining, and I just so happened to be
Take out. That makes sense.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say, congratulations on all this success. You did something in real estate too. You bought like a type of building, right?
So I'm still in that process.
Okay.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I want to say the last time we spoke,
Yeah.
may have been like.
It was like September,
What was
October.
that? Is that 6 months ago?
It was probably 3 months.
Okay, so yeah, I was literally under contract with that building from the moment that you and I spoke, November to January. And I actually decided to pull out of the deal.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I'm not really familiar with real estate.
Yeah.
It's not my lane.
Yeah, I remember you saying it was a new endeavor. It was something new.
It was, but ultimately I feel like energy is universal.
For sure.
I'm big on energy, and it didn't feel right.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And faith have got you this far, so why even play with it now? But I was going to commend you anyway, because just to be running from a food business for 4 years is a tough task, because I know that that's one of the hardest industries because not only is there so many different certifications, inspections that you got to pass, but at the same time you got to satisfy customers, and somebody's negative opinion about it could turn people. And so for you to be able to do that, I just want to say that's dope. And I think you got a beautiful spirit. You're very wise, very intelligent, and I like what you stand for. The messages that you put out, I can see. I always say, like, I don't know how far you've grown, but since I've been watching your journey, I can see the growth.
Yeah.
And like, you know, your the way you can present yourself and the things you do on your platform to get women to speak up for themselves and just, you know, different things like that, and the way you encourage them. So I want to tip my hat to you. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to have a chain of these burger bistros. Wasn't it inspired by your mom? You didn't mention that. So I definitely want people to know that it was inspired by your mom. You could tell them that before we cut to a commercial.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have an open discussion when we come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So Umidi's Burger Bistro, by the way, we are a gourmet burger, sandwich, and specialty shop located at 2005 North 22nd Street in Strawberry Mansion, part of Philly. So our brand essentially was inspired by Debbie Dawson, my Umi, my mom in Arabic. She actually passed from breast cancer, ironically, prior to, you know, coming up with that name and everything that transpired. I was gonna name my business Bite. That's like a funny little story behind it. I don't know why. I just wanted something cute and sweet and short and to the point. But contrary to, you know, what I anticipated, my mother actually passed 15 days after I signed my lease to my building. So we established my lease June 15th. My anniversary just passed when Umidi's was founded, actually. And my mother died June 30th. So that kind of gave me, everything just came full circle after that, you know. So it kind of was like death and then rebirth.
Became legacy.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Again, I definitely want to commend you, and I appreciate you for taking this time to giving us the honor and the pleasure of being able to have you in this space, so people can tap into who you are and all the other things that you got going on. Don't go nowhere, because when we come back, we're going to find ourselves joined by all of the ladies, and we're going to have our open discussion. So stay tuned. We see y'all back soon.
Rocking with Ahmad today. I was cheated on and I'm a survivor. Alright, I was in a relationship. This happened some time ago. And we was having usual relationship problems back and forth. We was on vacation. We got off of vacation. I went somewhere else with my brothers or whatever. And I guess I didn't communicate that. I had a bad communication problem. And when I came back, when I was on my trip, it was a lot of back and forth. She was trying to sabotage my vacation with my brothers. And I came back, we broke up for some reason. I was talking to her best friend one day, and I was talking to her other friend the second day. And the second day, my brother I got a twin brother, he went on a date to Penn's Landing, and I was at home playing the game. He called me like, "Ma, you're not gonna believe who down here. I don't want to tell you." He like, "Such and such is down here." I left the phone. Like I went straight down there. I went straight down there, whatever, looking for her.
With no phone.
I didn't need a phone. It was relatively close, like 6 minutes. Looking. I didn't find her at all. So I'm like, all right. I see one of my uncles on South Street. I'm coming back from South Street. I'm just talking to him, and we having a conversation. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about a group of things. I never called her, and after that, I get all these calls and all of that. I'm not answering them. I already made a decision in my mind, and just to make sure I wasn't tripping, my brother wasn't tripping. I knew he wasn't. Her best friend, little sister, put me in her close friends. So I got like her login information, and I see like a leg and a foot next to each other in a close friend. But that was
how did that make you feel?
I was hot, steaming. But I ain't want to call her and be like, oh, you cheating, blah, 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 blah. It's just, okay. Just take it how it goes, I guess.
So how did that situation conclude? You just...
Well, really, in those type of situations, I feel like when people wrong, it's a cat and mouse game. So the fact that she was wrong and I'm not giving it any energy, she's calling and she don't know what to think because I'm not saying nothing. I do know what you're doing. And you like, what is he thinking? You want to know what I'm thinking? If I'm upset with you, I'm going to give you any type of energy. So the fact that I didn't, it really drove her crazy. Like,
do you know if she had sex with this person?
She did. She told me afterwards.
How you get that confession?
We was keeping in line of communication. She was calling, and on my birthday, I seen her, right? And she like, this guy was doing a number of stuff or whatever, and I just was like, yeah, sex, and she was like, yes, but it was with a condom on. I didn't do X, Y, and Z, and I was like, just said that. But the thing was about me, I already knew, but just hearing those confirmation words, it make you a new person. Like it grow you up quick. Like you think, like you know something, but when somebody tell you, yeah, I did that, you like, no, I didn't think you was going to do that. Like I had more respect for you than that, but that happened, and I just really chalked it after that. So,
did you give her any comments for being honest?
No, because I asked her a group of times, number of times, like, yo, did y'all do it? No, I swear. Get out the car, slam the door, walk off. These are all guilty actions.
So what did it do for you moving forward? You said you grew up kind of quick. What did it do for you?
It made me be hard in a sense where, trust. I lack trust because I feel like people could be infatuated with you. That don't mean they're going to do right by you. They just want you because you in their face or you got something they want or they like the idea of you. But to say, I'm going to do this and not hurt you is a different type of feeling. Like, I think for anybody to say they ever loved anybody or whatever, for that person to love you, they have to hurt you some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Why we associate with love? I think love is like an easy word. Like, if I say I love you, it may take away like, well, this person loves me, he ain't gonna hurt me, but I'm doing you wrong, and I'm saying I love you to put a band-aid over the gunshot wound.
Oh, so you're saying they're using that word as a manipulative tactic to disarm you. So going back to you being cheated on, when you first found out, as far as in her going on a date, why didn't you leave initially?
We wasn't really dealing with each other. It was like the last days, I would say.
So do you think that it was because of your trip with your brothers?
It was a group of things, to be honest.
It's understandable. Well, we appreciate you for your time. Before we let you go, would you say that you ever see yourself not being hardened and trusting a woman?
Yes, because I learned that you can't control people. They gonna do what they want. Like, I don't own anybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna do what they want. I just ask for you to be honest because I may not like it, but I'm gonna respect you. I feel like if I don't respect you, then there's no point really.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest, if you haven't already, definitely check out Cheating is Not Cheating. We cover these types of things. But we appreciate you for your time, Ahmad, and congratulations on being a survivor.
Thank you.
So I was able to talk to all y'all individually. Now I have the pleasure of having y'all all here at the same time. 3 very amazing women, successful entrepreneurs. And what I like most about y'all mindset, I told y'all that offset, but I want to say it on camera, giving y'all flowers. Like, I feel like y'all different. So to that regard, when you feeling and holding y'all to this higher standard, for sure. I want for the open discussion, and just so y'all know, the way this works is I'm gonna throw the first topic out there. We're gonna chop it up, and then whatever, we just flow from there. What makes y'all respect a woman? That's the first thing I want to ask y'all. So just feel free to jump out there.
For me, I try to respect everybody. That's first and foremost. Just because naturally, like I value respect, I'm a respectful person.
Yeah.
But women that stand out to me are women who prioritize being intelligent and smart. I like just women who just want to be better.
Yeah.
So I can respect you 100% if you're prioritizing being smarter, making better decisions.
Yeah.
With dating, life, business, career, whatever. Like just trying to develop yourself better to
That
be
makes
better.
sense.
That's how I'm gonna respect.
Yeah, I want to hear. I kind of want to hear. Is it different in perspective? How y'all feel about that?
I feel like women, we get it harder than men.
All right, so no. So,
Get my back.
No, because so I'm gonna take it back. Actually, what you respect about a woman, like what makes you look at it like that's an honorable or respectful woman, more so.
Somebody who get up every day, they working. Somebody who stand on their morals and their principles, their self-worth. Yeah. Someone who knows, like, I'm not going to accept this. Like, I'm worth that. I just said that. I'll be going in circles all the time. But yeah, my girl got me. Get my back.
Okay, so I agree with both you ladies. For me, I feel like the biggest thing in regards to respect for me is just someone that is strong, a woman that's confident, a woman that loves herself. When you love yourself, you can literally see it from the inside out.
Yeah.
So it just exudes just a certain type of aura and aesthetic. So loving yourself, standing for something, standing on those principles, showing up, being consistent, and yeah, I would say going hard and sacrificing when you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And successful women, y'all beautiful women. Does that help friendships, or do y'all feel like it's harder to be friends because of y'all success and y'all beauty?
If you're not around like-minded people like yourself, you could be around somebody who will throw you off your pivot. Who won't even tell you, like, yo, sis, you lacking. Like, do what you're supposed to be doing. You just told me you wanted to reach this goal and do this last week, but you're not doing nothing to, contribute to what you told me you wanted to do. Yeah. I feel like the only way that it will affect your friendships are if you are around people who's not on the same stuff as you, who's not going hard like you, who's not motivating you. You should be around people who motivate you.
Right,
you should be able to motivate each other.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel that. Well, it is an open discussion, so when one person don't got to answer at a time, or one person don't got to answer every single question, and y'all can throw questions out there as well. So I just want y'all to know that. But I wanted to ask y'all now. I want to tie into relationships.
I want to take into that question.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so it's funny that you brought up that question because I just had this discussion not too long ago, a few days ago actually, with the reality of friendships and relationships and how no one really tells you that people will change. Yeah. And it may not always align with you. Mm-hmm. You may not always align with them. And people outgrow one another. Yeah. And I literally stated that I've come to know within my 27 years of being on this earth that relationships and friendships, they're contractual. Yeah. I feel like they should be contractual.
Like, what can you do for me? What am I doing? Not even what can you, but what am I doing for you? What are you doing for me type of thing?
No. Okay. So, contractual in the sense of, upholding whatever those needs are. Yeah. And your needs will change as time goes on. Right. So, say, for instance, if we have a 10-year friendship, right? If I met someone when I was 13 years old, and what you poured into me and what you gave to me, it was suffice and it was sufficient, that's great, but at 23, come on, I need things completely different from you. Right. But you may not have the capacity to give that to me. Right. So I feel like relationships and friendships need to be renewed. Yeah, they need to be addressed, and they need to be literally
grow together.
Absolutely. And you have to discuss and figure out, can we grow together? Yeah. Are we growing together? Is it possible? Right. And I feel like that's the hardest thing when you're in business or successful or chasing success, is that everybody can't go with you. Yeah. And it's not because you don't love them or they don't love you, it's like a really, really, really hard thing to accept that everybody is not going to go with you.
Yeah.
And they may want to go, and you may want them to go with you, but everybody just does not have the capacity.
Exactly.
And everyone is not going to be able to make it to their next level with you. And I feel like it also takes a lot of accountability within yourself.
Yeah.
Because at some point you have to say, you know what, if I accept this and I no longer need this, you know, I have to look inward and say, do I love myself? Do I fuck with myself if I accept this?
Yeah.
Because it was okay at one point when I was a little girl. But then I'm a woman, I need different things.
That makes sense.
You know?
And even to your point, I feel like I learned that, like, even when we look at ambition, right? And we look at it like, you might have two people that might be ambitious, but they might really be ambitious going in two different directions. So the fact that people not being able to go ain't always like them being not even unqualified, but more so like they might be meaning to go 95 north and you got to go 95 south, and the friendship doesn't have to dwindle because of that. Like, and I feel like people think once you get out the car, it's like, oh, we ain't friends no more. Like, nah, like I'm still your friend. I just gotta go this way, you gotta go that way. But we still, whatever we find similar interests in, this is where we connect. Right. But I gotta be on this level with the people that's trying to do what I'm trying to do, whether that's in the spiritual realm or that's monetarily in business or whatever the case may be. So I agree with what you said 110%. Did you want to tap into that, or because I'm about to swing into another question?
That question was just more so about friends, right?
Yeah, just like how does being, you know, beautiful and successful affect friendships? Like, you know what I mean?
Like y'all, both of these ladies said, like it's important to be around like-minded people. Like they on like alignment. So like, yeah, we should align. We should have similar goals or focuses. Yeah. I think the most challenging thing with women, I guess, and friendships for me anyway, is just like, people they say it's a lot of talk, but people aren't really doing the work to become better people. Yeah. And so you get in these situations and like I would love to have closer girlfriends, but like no one's doing the work. Like I'll talk to girls on the phone, they'll complain about a problem, right? And I'm there to listen to you vent. But when we start talking solutions, like what's up? You know what I'm saying? And so I can't be around girls like that because it's just, it brings you down.
So
and it's annoying.
This something I definitely want to make sure that you're all tap into. As far as in relationships, what are some things that y'all feel like y'all could do to be better going into y'all next relationships? And what are some things that women could do in total? And I only want to hear that side because I really want somebody to get this.
I feel like be able to move on. That's for me. To be able to move on and communicate better.
Okay.
That's good. I feel like a lot of women need help knowing when they need to let go and move on.
Yeah.
So, all right, so my question really is like identifying that, all right, you in your new relationship, you learn from your past and previous marriages and relationships and dealing and dating, and it's like, all right, me being this new woman, because we talked about it and I said I was going to swing it back to the couch. Y'all being the new woman that y'all are now with the new mindset, what would that look like? How could that identify change behavior?
I think when you come into a relationship, right, and you're doing all this work on yourself, so you're like, wow, I'm like this awesome Layla, well, better than I was, right? And so I'm so proud of myself, and I'm just in this nice space, like, healing girl, like all this fly stuff, right? And then you meet that person, but like that person, you know, that doesn't mean that person did that same work.
Right.
So now it's like,
it's like that person.
So now your old habits might be coming back to surface, not that you want them to or whatever, but like it's that trigger word again, right? And so that person didn't heal in these areas, so now it's like, okay, how do I teach them how to heal too? So now we can work better, or like what do you have to do to shift to?
Y'all don't think?
And let me ask you a question really fast. So do you feel like, okay, you say you need a partner, right? But you already have grown from that where they need help at, but are you willing to like stay and help them grow? You know, even if you don't, say for 3 months y'all been together and you still don't see no change, do you tell yourself like, should I still try to fight for it, or do I just move on?
So for me, immediately, like I don't date little boys, you know what I'm saying? So like if I tell you, for one, they should already be coming correct because I'm looking at you like you a man, you know what I'm saying? But then once you're coming to me and I see like we're all human, you know, you might be slacking in a couple areas, I'm gonna tell you, and then I'm gonna hope that you can fix it, and you have to fix it soon too. I'm not giving you 3 months if I say this is how I want to be treated, I'm not waiting 3 months for that. Like, come on.
So I feel like a lot of women had that perspective, feel like a man should just know, but a lot of men don't know.
No, it's not. No, you gotta tell them.
No, I'm not even talking about. So let me be clear. I'm not talking about like how you want to be treated.
Right.
I'm talking about know how to be a man. So a lot of men didn't have good examples.
Exactly.
So like I feel like the reality of it is coming into these situations is being able to identify where this man is at in his development as a man.
Right.
How many responsibilities has he had? How well do he handle them? How well is the community? Before we get to y'all wants and needs, we need to figure out where his shortcomings.
Absolutely.
But so what I'm saying is because that's where the grace comes in at. You might start your clock at what he ain't doing for you when he's still 40% away from where he need to be as a man to even grow, to even get to 0% to start your clock. So the grace comes in that, in the progress of, all right, I see where he is as a man and like he ain't making no progress here. Then you like, all right, I don't got the time for this. But if he's growing as a man, but he hasn't became and been able to get to your needs yet because he's still trying to complete his 100% growth and development, I think that's where you got to kind of like, all right, like, and I can't say stick around,
for me,
but just the grace aspect of it.
I feel like I get that with the grace, right?
Yeah.
So if you only at a 30% right now, right, but Layla's requiring 60, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
So Layla now has to make a decision. Do I really need 60 or can I thug it out and wait until, he come up, right?
Yeah.
Or that person can be with a woman who's accepting of where he's at with that 30.
So,
if a woman has done all of this work on herself and she's at 80 or whatever the percentage is, you know what I'm saying? She's not obligated to wait for that person because she can simply just choose a person who's done the same.
I agree 110% to that. But in that, I feel like it become a lot one-sided when it's like, this barometer where men get measured is strictly based on like y'all wants and needs, but like how much of that barometer do you challenge yourself to apply to his wants and needs? And like where's your percentage at what he want? You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's a lot of our disconnect. Like nobody's kind of getting what they want. So it's like, how can we kind of bridge that gap? You know what I mean? So that really is the question. Like when you look at what he ain't doing or whatever, are you doing X, Y, Z or ABC that, you know what I mean? So before we start, looking at somebody else like, dang, you ain't do your assignment. Like for y'all, do y'all feel like y'all done y'all assignment in your relationship?
I feel like I do my assignment very, very well.
Okay.
I think that recently, like a part of that everlasting journey, I've definitely, though, to answer your question, have seen some things that I still need to improve on.
That's respect.
Y'all, this year was the year that, you know how everybody jokes about like women are the new men? We were just talking about that, right?
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not accepting that statement, but go ahead.
Yeah, and I hate that statement.
Yeah.
Because like, I felt like a man at times, not like, all right, I don't know how a man feel, but I felt responsibilities of men or even people have said like, you talk like a man, like the things that I do, my actions, my hustling, when I'm around men, like whatever. Right?
I get
So all of this, Layla, like you a man, you aggressive, you this, you this. And so you kind of feel like, I act like a nigga, like, and you just kind of like, you might accept it or whatever. But just this year, like, I learned how problematic that is and how it just like is trash. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so now I'm learning that I have to be more ladylike. And I have to be more softer, and I have to be more feminine.
And so feminine is so attractive.
Because all we're doing is like sitting here trying to be men, fighting men.
Mm-hmm.
It's so dumb and it makes you tired. Like I want to be soft. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to argue with dudes all day and contractors fixing my house up and and so it's hard because we run business, but it's like you gotta have a balance.
Okay, so I have a question for ladies, and you might can answer this as well, from a man's perspective.
All right.
Do you guys, from your experience, so we're speaking about masculinity and femininity, right? And the balance and imbalance in today's society. Do you guys feel that entrepreneurship and being a boss enhances, masculinity within a woman. Because I believe it does.
Absolutely.
Like by far, I feel like, being a boss, it causes us to operate in just this like strong, forceful, just completely just away from just,
because it's a male dominated thing. Like,
absolutely.
Money, business, the
Absolutely.
world, so here we are trying to step up, and whether that's being an entrepreneur, corporate, America, whatever, we're competing with men. So the only thing we could really do is try to be more of a man.
But it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't, because I feel like
even worse.
We go make the money, then it's challenging. It becomes challenging for you to get a man, to keep a man. If you're acting like a man don't want a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless he does want a man. But in our case,
the men that
that's not our case.
The men that we want don't want a man. Yeah. So we gotta tone it down completely.
Let me speak. Jada, did you have anything? Or because I was listening. I'm gonna be real. I think that like that narrative of it being like a male dominant, I don't see that. I go to entrepreneur events, it's all women. I'm not in y'all shoes to tell y'all experience, but I'm saying like women have been killing it. So like I see how far y'all have risen over these past couple years since I've been in entrepreneurship, and I don't know, because when we say it's like y'all the ones owning the businesses, like y'all gotta let's look at what's happening in reality, and like y'all kind of like y'all want some shit. So like I don't want to keep making it like y'all behind, y'all not. It just doesn't. I agree. It doesn't translate well in the relationship world. And I'm gonna tell you, and just my perspective, right? Because I'm gonna tell y'all what happened, right? Because y'all don't like. We talked about this. I said like men gotta learn how to think outside the box in business, right? You can't sexualize every woman you meet. You can't see a woman the first. Y'all gotta go overcome a nigga wanting to fuck y'all first, right? Like before they even take y'all serious in business, they gotta not want to have sex with you. So when you're beautiful, you already behind the 8 ball because he might look at like, damn, she bad, damn, I gotta try to. But I challenge men and I say think outside the box. Try to make that for me first is what is the benefit of not fucking her before I think about it, because 9 times out of 10 I won't have to cross my mind. If I want to go into business with you, I'm going into business. Getting into bed is a whole different world. So men y'all already do have to overcome that. And I think that when there's a lack of respect in how they treat y'all as entrepreneur women and wanting to do certain things that's just unethical, and not the good men, but just it is people out here, whatever the case may be, and that's how you conduct business. I think that y'all then bring that lack of respect from the world into the household and make y'all come into a defensive, and I'm not speaking and telling y'all how y'all are, but I'm just saying like this is just based on the things I've viewed, experienced, and just observed.
I say that's true.
So I think that's why it don't translate well, because y'all gotta realize like the non-protection you might feel in the corporate ain't got nothing to do with the protection of the man in your house. The non-respect you feel from this contractor ain't got nothing to do. The way your man might not respect you is completely different. It's not one bubble. So it's like your man ain't gonna let nobody harm you. Like so it's like we don't feel like y'all protected, but he might not be at your job when your boss say something you don't like. So we gotta really be able to identify. You know, and I do the same thing with men when they say certain things about women. I'm like, no, we have to identify what is actually happening from your woman and what is happening from women, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
So but if this is just a challenge from me to y'all. If y'all can find a way to identify those things, I think it'll make y'all, because you'll get off the clock and be like, all right, I don't have to worry about this stuff at home. Yeah. He do love me, he do respect me, X, Y, Z, and I feel like it'll allow y'all to operate in that femininity, because I don't want masculine. I don't need it. I would much rather pay my girl I would pay whatever to not deal with whatever comes with that. Like, I don't want you stressing about money. Let me stress about it. You stress about the kids, and I'm not saying stay in the house and be housewife, but I'm saying like it's other things that I would rather my woman stress about than the financial aspect of it. Because if I got to deal with your money problems, and I'm already trying to deal with money problems, and we ain't even dealing with our problems. So that's just my perspective on it. But yeah, so that was a good thing that you said though.
Let's talk about something that you said for a second, as far as us like not being stressed and being able to relax and be just that feminine woman that a man wants, right? Versus this masculine monster or whatever. But like you said, that give me that stress. I would rather be stressed to not have to deal with you being masculine. Yeah. And I think something that we also should consider is that women, we have to get really we have to get better at choosing our partners. Because if you choose a partner that's going to let you take in all that stress, there's no way that you can remain soft and feminine and all sweet and all of that. So that's why when I'm talking about percentages and where people are at, You gotta choose somebody that's where you need them to be, or else you sitting here in a stressful ass situation.
Right.
Yo,
Right.
just to throw this at y'all. Y'all all women in business. Y'all not gonna get in a business bid with anybody. Y'all gonna look at certain things with business. I feel like for y'all businesses to be successful, y'all would have to have discerning characteristics to be able to identify flaws in people.
No, that's not true.
So, all right.
Furthest thing from the truth.
All right.
And the reason being is that one of the things that I'm a firm believer in is that if you are not taught, you will never know.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree 1,000,000%.
If you are not taught, you will never know. It's literally like, I talk about this all the time when it comes back to self-love. I am a advocate for self-love and, femininity and all those things. However, it starts with self first, and digging deep and really doing that healing and that soul searching, looking at those broken parts of yourself that are really uncomfortable and even ugly, and parts that you might just want to shove away. But I said it to say, back to self-love, right? Because self-love will guide you through everything.
Yeah.
And self-love is truthfully, it's really a boundary. And it's your body
that's
to choose the right partner. However, if you don't have self-love and if you lack self-love, you don't have the discernment, and you won't know just because you're this big boss or you're a six-figure earner. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
No.
One doesn't take the other.
All right, yeah, no, to your point, because I agree with everything you just said. So for me, it wasn't saying that it's automatic. It was saying that whatever you did to become that, do that over here, because you went through trial and error to find the right flow of your business, and it's the same thing. You don't got to get it right the first time. Right. So I think to eliminate the pressure, whenever you was looking for your building, you might, I don't know if you signed the first lease or if you went through multiple or if you searched, but it was something that made this the thing that you said, I'm going to sign this, I'm going to commit to this, right? And I think that whatever that characteristic was, we got to find ways to apply that in relationships, because it's just like the universal laws and the spiritual laws. The math is the math across the board, whether you're doing 2 + 2 and equaling 4 in English and Spanish and whatever language it is, it's still the same thing. And I feel like it's the same thing with relationships. It's just about finding how can I use these principles that work over here and be able to effectively use it and finding a partner. Because like I said, we're not going to hang around certain people. We're not going. So it's like self-love plays a huge factor because it comes down to self-worthiness, right? And that's still a spiritual tool. Some people can't get rich because they don't feel deserving of it. Some people can't find love, but they don't feel deserving of it. So everything you said in regard to self-love, I think is 100% true. I just really encourage anybody, man or woman, that's successful at anything, I don't care whatever it is, to figure out what tools you use and try to use that to figure out how to be successful in a relationship. Because I feel like, I don't know, I just want to see the black household come back. I want to see the structure. I want to see
the nuclear family.
It don't got to be traditional. It could be a little modern, but if everybody's saying the same thing on what they want, then why nobody? Where's the disconnect?
Where's the disconnect?
Where's that coming from?
And that's why I got into that initial topic, because I feel like in business and making certain decisions, it's more systematic versus,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Versus in your personal life, you gotta understand a lot of our choices when it comes to love and our partner is really subconscious. Like, we're choosing partners, due to what we've been through in the past.
Can it be systematic? Can love be, not love, but can you create a system that works for a relationship?
And to be honest, I've been trying to be systematic as fuck.
It is something to being too systematic though. Like, we're going to meet at 3,
right?
we done by 4, you know what I'm saying? I do think it's a thing, but that makes sense though. But
one thing about life is just gonna, like, you could be systematic and implement all these rules, but life just kind of still gonna flow how it's gonna flow. But I think that when you're dating as women, we do need to have some kind of freaking system in place. Like, please stop just
that boundaries thing. Women, as women, y'all ask me like that. That's what y'all need, boundaries. And y'all got understand that, right? Because y'all asked me before, y'all said something about like how can y'all deal with men better in a sense. We was back there, and I don't know what the exact question was, but it was something along the lines. But I remember the answer. It was really y'all boundaries, right? Because like, I'm a man, and it's not personal when a man pushes boundaries. A man will push a man boundaries. It's not, but as a woman, you gotta have strong boundaries, and you gotta have a strong sense of self and being okay with however that plays out. Because if not, the same thing I tell men to not let somebody run all over them. But this is for y'all in every area, like showing up and knowing what your boundaries are. And you don't gotta be assertive, aggressive in it. It's just knowing, like, oh, this just goes against what I stand for.
I'm not with it in no way, shape, form, or fashion, because a man ain't gonna respect nothing that's not a boundary. We only respect pressure and consequences. You can talk all you want. You can ask us, you can say it a million times. We didn't grow up, our mom didn't curse us out. Y'all yelling don't matter. A man is not just going to change, right? So like our mom, do this, do that, do this. We learn how to do away with that. Mm-hmm. But when you feel like, oh, she really, like I ask him, I always serve him, and I be like, yo, when you was younger, you knew it was probably that little fresh girl, you could touch her butt. And like, she ain't gonna say nothing, but you knew it was that other girl, you touch her butt, she gonna curse you, and you're not even gonna play with her like that. Mm-hmm. She ain't never had to say it, she give you a look. I know not to touch. It's the same thing, but it just look a little different. So I encourage y'all to have boundaries, because that's what's gonna make us respect y'all more, not how aggressive y'all get, how masculine. Mm-hmm. None of that. It's really just knowing that I can't play with her like that. Like, that's she not going for that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think women know that, and a lot of women, because I didn't really think that either. I thought like maybe I gotta match your energy, you know, and that's wrong because it's not getting us nowhere. But something that I want to point out that you just said now is women being okay with however that turns out. Mm-hmm. Okay, establish your boundaries. Stand on them joints.
That's my favorite term.
Don't put one foot on it. No, stand both feet hard down on them boundaries. Yeah. And it's okay if he runs away and doesn't want to be with you.
To miss out.
That's cool. That's not your goal. He don't even respect your boundary. So find a man that respects it. Stop. I want to be alone. I'm lonely. Like, sis,
but you have to be willing to be alone.
You have to be alone.
You find, you know, and you align with what it is you want. You have to be willing to.
Absolutely.
You know, even though it's like, who the hell want to be alone? None of us want to be alone, but ultimately, I do believe you have to be willing.
It's so much power in knowing how to be alone, and that's why I said I took those that, you know, almost 2 years to just be by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be whatever.
I was going to ask Jada something, right? Do you feel like you're soaking up a lot? Because I remember we spoke and you was like, you know, I dated, but you said you ain't really had the most relationship experience. So you think listening to these women that's a little older than you talk about that experience?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
You just soaking it all in?
Let me go ahead and redo my boundaries.
Because like I'm watching, I'm like, dang, she's soaking all this in. I always think it's dope for women to hear from women, but I do encourage women to have good men around to give them that perspective, because I keep good women around me. Like me and Linda, we talk all the time, and like I got other women that I draw perspective from. Me and Hannah have multiple conversations. Me and you even have multiple conversations, even if it was just about differences in business and different things like that. And I think that helps me stay well rounded. And I say, like, you could go to your homies and your girlfriend all you want. Men go to your homies, women go to, but if you don't go to that person that can resonate with the source of what the problem, you could never even be an understanding person, because I really have to get a woman's perspective. And when I go, it's for understanding. Help me understand what this is. Not a solution but just an understanding, because it allows me to better my approach personally. So that's kind of something that I do. I know that we didn't, I'm not gonna lie, I wish this discussion could go on forever, but it just can't. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to plug yourself, your businesses, your name. We'll start with Jada, and then go to Hannah, and then go to Layla, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But I just want to say before that, I appreciate y'all. This was dope. I enjoyed this conversation, and I feel like so many people are gonna take a lot from it. So thank y'all. Yeah. So Jada, plug yours, and then.
All right. Hey y'all. Again, my name is Jada Mclamb, owner of Mclamb Accessories. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all at Mclamb Accessories. And my personal Instagram is Yo Mclamb, YOMCCLAMJJ. And thank you, Nah, for having me today. Listen, y'all, if y'all, I don't know what I was like. Go ahead.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Hannah Azay, founder and owner of Umidi's Burger Bistro, located at 2805 North 22nd Street. You can find us at Umidi's, UMMIDEES, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. My personal page is THE Hannah Azay, HANNAHAHZAI. Nah, this was incredible. Thank you so much for choosing me to be a part of this. Ladies, it was a pleasure.
Yes.
Sitting on the throne with you guys. Hopefully we'll connect again. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Layla again, at Layla Elise on Instagram, and it's spelled LAILAHALESE. That's all we were saying, right?
Yeah.
It was definitely a pleasure sitting here with you guys and meeting you ladies. You guys are amazing. I'm proud of all of us actually that's sitting here. And another thing that I just wanted to say real quick is, like, it's so much more that we could have shared
Yes.
and discussed and to help people, or
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? But we didn't have a lot of time. But what I do want to extend just to women who may be struggling in any area that we talked about, like I'm just so open and just so kind and try to pull everybody in. So if anybody ever just needed a woman to talk to, like I'm that person that you could DM me and I'll just, make you feel like you're my sister. So I just wanted to extend that to the world.
Y'all dope, man.
And I wanted to say one thing, y'all. Know your boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I heard them. Your boundaries are important.
She said she gonna get a list soon as she leave.
Yes.
This was a very dope episode. I hope y'all took a lot from it. I'm honored to be joined by such inspirational women, such powerful women, beautiful inside and out. I hope that everybody is able to continue to connect. It was dope to see, hear so many perspectives that were different but similar, and it was good to be able to share that. So don't go nowhere because we got Ask Wolf coming up next. So it was a pleasure, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. But stay tuned because we got more coming.
What advice do you have for men that are dealing with ambitious women?
If you're a man and you are dealing with a woman who is ambitious, right? I think that now you have to pay attention to where her ambition is being placed and ask yourself if you're comfortable with it. Because often, if you run into a woman who's ambitious in areas that make you uncomfortable or feel insecure, it's going to show up in your behavior towards her, and it's going to seem like you're trying to hold her back. But if you can admire her ambition because it aligns with who you are as a person and the things that you're trying to do and accomplish within yourself and even for the family that y'all going to be building, it'll allow you to be able to embrace that and then empower her to actually walk toward her ambition as opposed to try to anchor her from actually being able to go and pursue whatever it is that you're trying to go after. So my advice to you is, if you know yourself, right, and you know where areas you're uncomfortable, don't date a woman who is ambitious in ways that make you uncomfortable. That way you avoid trying to hold her back and becoming an anchor when you should be almost acting as if, some type of just a driving force, pushing her. So that's something I would say. And then the key to it is, bro, just working on yourself. Because we living in a new day now. These women they're ambitious, and it's not just in being in the kitchen or just being in a house. And for some people it is, because ambition identifies differently. It ain't always about running a business, but you have to identify with a woman who is ambitious in a way that empower you to not be insecure and feel like you need to hold it back. So if you don't like women that run business and you know that that's going to make you uncomfortable, her being around all these different types of environments, then don't deal with her. Deal with a woman that's ambitious in ways that you're comfortable with. And one more thing, before I let y'all go, I felt like it was essential to say this. You want a woman that's ambitious because you're not going to want a woman that's lazy. You just have to be able to find a woman whose ambition aligns with yours and your views for how you see your life going and the foundation y'all are building together. So don't stray away from ambitious women. Just find a one who's ambitious in areas that complement you. Now the Wolf has spoken. What's going on is the Wolf, and I hope y'all enjoyed this very special episode of The Couch. I hope y'all took a lot of different game, different value, and gained a lot of insight from different perspectives. This was a very special episode. I found myself joined by 3 amazing women. I hope that the men and the women could take something from this episode. And if you did, I want you to do 3 things. I want you to like, comment, and subscribe. But remember, we don't just want you to comment anything. We want you to engage. So if it was something that we could have discussed, we would like you to suggest it so we can cover it in another episode. If it was something that you took from it, we want you to comment that so we know exactly what hit you and what enlightened you and what took you to a new level of thinking. Also, we want you to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss what's coming for the future. So stay tapped in. Follow us on Instagram at wolfnetworkwse. Follow me on Instagram at wolfwse. And continue to follow the journey, man. It's The Couch. Shout out to my team, man. We out. Let's get it.